Dear students, this is the sixth and last video of the chapter Constitutional Design. So far we discussed the guiding philosophy of the Indian Constitution, that is preamble, and its various elements. And we found that the Constitution revolves around these basic elements. Or in other words, the entire country is going to be governed by these important elements. Now, we are going to discuss the last topic of this chapter, that is institutional design. To understand this topic, we'll have to understand the fact that our constitution is bulkiest constitution in the world. It is very detailed document. So it needs to be upgraded or updated every time. That is why so far more than 100 amendments or changes took place in the Indian Constitution as per the requirement of the century. Now, the institutional design talks about the amendment or the changes that is very necessary with the changing time. And that is why our Indian Constitution is still relevant, it is still livable. It is still livable. Now, in the amendment, you'll have to understand, since the introduction of the Constitution, so far more than 100 amendments has been done in the Indian Constitution. Why? Because our Constitution is dynamic in nature. It can be changed, provisions can be changed as per the requirement, as per the demand of the citizens. So basically, in the institutional design, you have to understand that our Constitution has designed several institutions itself, Constitution, in such a way that things can change as per the requirement. Like through the amendment, many new things can be added, or many old things can be deleted also. So you have to understand. If I am going to take one example, I must give you example of local government. It was only through 73rd Amendment that local government was given the constitutional status. So, the Constitution made provision that an institution can be developed, it can be constituted under several provisions through amendment. So, amendment was made in the Constitution, and this is how local government came into existence. So, you have to understand here the Constitution clearly spells out the amendment process, and it spells out also separation of power among various institutions of the country. We all know that during election, the power is shifted in the hand of Election Commission of India, and he becomes the authorized person to take the decision regarding the election system. So basically it is an institution, and Constitution is going to make provision for it. Apart from that, judicial system is also there. So Constitution has given enough power to the judiciary to take correct or corrective actions in case if the government is misleading the fact. So we have to understand, in the institutional design we are going to discuss that how the Constitution has developed or constituted several institutions through various amendments, so that governance of the country can go on in a progressive way. It also spells out that what would be the institution or mechanism through which our government would run. Like it provides for the parliament, it provides for the parliamentary procedure, it provides that who will actually lead the country. So all the provisions, all the procedures, all the important points are mentioned in the Constitution. The Constitution is going to establish not only the institution that is required for the country, but it also establishes procedure through which the institutions are made or it can be constituted, like Finance Commission. In the Article 280, it is written that how the Finance Commission will be constituted after every interval of 5 years. Similarly, Election Commission of India will get power under 323 A of the Indian Constitution, 323 of the Indian Constitution. Got it? So everything is written very clearly regarding the setting up the institution, regarding the provisions and procedures of the Constitution in great detail. So after discussing the institutional design, we came to know that our Constitution is dynamic. It is true that it is bulkiest one, but apart from that, it is dynamic also. Things can be added or can be subtracted or deleted as per the requirement of the society or citizen. So that is why our Constitution is still livable, full of life, and it is still relevant even in this century. You can understand it was constituted in 1949 and it is 2020. So it is still relevant in the present scenario. So why it is so relevant even today? Because of its dynamic nature. In other parts of the world, you will find many constitutions came and many were wiped out with the changing time. But our constitution remained intact even in the economic crisis, even in the financial crunch. And we are still with the Constitution, and we still believe in each and every provision of the Constitution. So from the beginning, we started our discussion from the Nelson Mandela, and after that we started our discussion that how Nelson Mandela came out from the jail, and after how the government was formed, how democratic government was formed, and it was formed with the help of Constitution. And after that we discussed the importance of the Constitution, and thereafter we discussed about the Indian Constitution. And in the Indian Constitution we discussed the Constitution of how the Indian Constitution was made, which was the body that was responsible for making of the Indian Constitution. And thereafter we discussed the core values or the guiding philosophy of the Indian Constitution, that is preamble. And after that we also discussed the important core elements of the preamble. And now we are in a position to analyze the importance of Constitution in the present context. And finally we discussed about the institutional design, that how we can make amendment, how Constitution can be changed as per the requirement of the country. So we discussed all these points, and this is all about this chapter. Thank you.